Hey everybody, welcome to a special birthday edition of Schlenderfi Productions. I'm Derek Schlender, and joining me today is special guest star, Derek Schlender. Well, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for having me. So what are we doing today? What are we talking about?
All right.
So in light of it being my birthday, and consequently, happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you as well. Oh, thank you. I figured we'd watch one of our favorite birthday movies. I know there's a lot of movies out there that deal with birthdays. You've got like 13 going on 30.
Right, yeah.
John Hughes made a career around awkward birthdays.
Yeah, there are a bunch.
So I figured we'd start with something that you and I both agree, pretty good little duology. Happy Death Day 1. I do love those Happy Death Days. I really do. All right, so I think I'll take the lead on Happy Death Day 1, and then you can take the lead on Happy Death Day 2, if that sounds good to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, seems fine. Yeah, I'll take over more of the plot synopsis then for Happy Death Day 2. You have at it. All right. Well, let's get started. So the general idea of Happy Death Day 1, you have our main character whose name is Tree. I know, weird name. I don't know. I didn't write the thing.
Name, dude.
But anyways, Tree, she wakes up in a strange boy's bed, right? Oh, by the way, spoilers for everything. This should go without saying, but like, I'm not gonna be able to stop talking about spoilers. I know you're not gonna be able to stop talking about spoilers. Right, so we're not gonna be able to stop talking about spoilers. So what's interesting about Happy Death Day is, you see the trailer for it and it really makes it seem like just Groundhog Day, but with a murderer, which is already I'm on board, right? Pretty good premise. What's cool though is when it starts, the Universal logo, it just starts like, it resets, and then it resets, and then it resets again. So even if you weren't 100% sure what was going on with this movie, it gives you a pretty good indication right out the gate. So Tree wakes up in this stranger's bed. I believe his name is Carter, and if you don't know his name, they're gonna say it like 30 times. So wakes up there and just is like, okay, I gotta get out of here. She's like kind of mean about it, like, not very pleasant, just angry and entitled and like, I can't believe I woke up in some nerd's room. Ugh. And, stumbles her way across campus. She sees a series of like comical events and, that's kind of what kind of sets the tone for some of the future patterns. Well, turns out it's her birthday. Happy Death Day, happy birthday. It's not the most clever thing, but it works in this case.
Yeah, I agree.
And she gets home and the roommate's like, oh, look who finally came like crawling back or whatever it is. It's just, essentially, you can't do it anymore, but that would be called slut shaming. You'll have to look it up. It's in this archaic thing called Urban Dictionary. And so she's like, oh, I made you this birthday. I made you a cupcake, right? It's a cupcake. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it in a while. I know you just got done rewatching them, but I'm trying to go off memory here. Yeah, I did just watch them. As a matter of fact, I started at I figured why not? Brush up a little bit. So it is a cupcake. All right, we're good then. And it's like, happy birthday. Bet you didn't know I think I knew it was your birthday. Even though her phone ringtone is like, it's your birthday or something like that, right? I feel like there's a very obvious clue. All right, so yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And so she's like, oh, can't eat carbs, and like throws the cupcake away and just real bitchy about it. Goes through her day just kind of being garbage person. Like they're like, oh, what time are you coming to the party later? It's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll show up late. Just not very pleasant. And they just kind of, on her way there, she passes. Oh, that's right. They're at, what is it, like, I forget the name of the school.
Baysfield Babies.
Oh, right. Yes. Of course, the mascot is a baby. So there's a bunch of people running around in baby faces, like chubby little cherubic baby faces. And that's pretty funny because you consider like the whole birthday thing and then being killed by like just like some rando in a baby mask. Like, so she's going to the party, and she sees an overpass and it's like, isn't it like under construction? It's like super sketchy. And for some reason, because, you need the movie to happen, she walks into it and
there's a creepy music box.
Well, that makes it so much creepier. And that's so much worse. Why would you even go in there? You hear a music box? Why would you? That doesn't make it better. And then she goes to walk out the other side. She gets attacked by a dude in a baby face mask, murdered, wakes up again. In the same guy's room, repetition of themes. And that's pretty much the movie. Trying to figure out who the killer is, why she's stuck in the time loop. It's fantastic. And
I agree.
You know, there's a bunch of subtle clues as to the killer throughout the movie. There's a couple of pretty good misdirections. There's like the thing about the mom, like she doesn't, like her mom and her shared the birthday.
Yeah, the whole sharing the birthday with mom was a pretty big deal, especially because she's dead.
Johnny. I just watched it. I don't know. Not Brad Dourif.
That's true.
And yeah, it turns out the guy who killed the mom is at the hospital, the university hospital. Oh, and she's having an affair with like the university doctor, right? Who's like also like one of her professors.
Right.
That's important because it turns out that the killer the whole time was her super jealous roommate who tried to give her the cupcake at the beginning. And yes, it is the most petty reason for murdering someone I've ever heard of. She's jealous. Jealous that she's sleeping with the professor that she has a crush on. The roommate, Lori, I'm talking about. I mean, we're kind of jumping to the end here, you know, putting the cart before the horse. But in order to figure out, like, she goes through like a list of stuff. She starts every time she dies, she starts confiding more and more in Carter. She starts trying to be a better person. She gets kind of like that whole redemptive arc that we're so used to seeing. You know, everybody's got to learn a lesson kind of thing. And it was pretty good.
You know, overall, pretty good. Pretty silly little fun movie. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, overall, it's just a pretty fun movie. A lot of good visual gags, like some good montages of her dying, you know, trying to like stay alive and just not working out well. It moves pretty quick too. I think it's not very long as I recall. We'll just jump into the story of the second one at this point. It picks up.
Oh, I thought I was talking about Happy Death Day too.
I did say you could
get ahead of yourself. You invited me on here for a reason.
Yeah, so like similar to what you had said at the beginning, when in the titles of Happy Death Day 1, Happy Death Day 2 is going to be more about like a multiverse effect. And so one of the cool things they do is when they do the Universal logo, they like separate it so that way you see multiple of the logos side by side. And that plays pretty well into the parallel reality of it. So right out the gate, it starts the morning of the finale of the first film. You've got, I believe the Asian kid's name is Ryan, and he wakes up in his car, which is a joke he had made at the end of the first movie. And he's walking and he's like, he sees a couple like very distinct things. He goes to the dorm room and then he's like, well, they need me in the theoretical science lab, which, you know, not my favorite hook for it. I prefer it when it was like a supernatural thing. I didn't need like the science behind it, though I suppose it's kind of funny. Not my favorite hook, but they go down there and it turns out the device they have activated itself at 12:01. He then gets a mysterious text message that shows him sitting in the computer lab right after Evil Dean decides, like, this science isn't paying for enough. We can only pay for things that, you know, make money for us. And, you know, the old college way, if it's not making money, hit the bricks. And so he ends up being lured into this lab and he gets murdered by, shocker, somebody in a baby face mask. And when he wakes up the next day, he sees like the same series of like very specific events and he goes to his room and he's like, you're not gonna believe what happened. And of course, Tree's like, it happened when you died, right? And like, how did you know? And she's like, oh, buddy, have I got sorry for you. He doesn't initially believe her and stuff like that. You know, like they don't waste a lot of time with this. So they kind of get right to the meat of it. So they decide they're going to hide from the killer. And when they eventually capture him, it turns out it's an alternate universe Ryan who had just come to kill him because he's like, if we don't stop him, he's going to make things so much worse. And that's kind of where the movie happens. He's like, that guy's a liar. No, he's a liar. No, he's a liar. And they activate the multiverse machine, and then Tree gets sucked into a multiverse of her birthday again. Only there's a few good twists this time. Like, her roommate isn't trying to kill her this time, which is nice. But the biggest thing is the emotional hook where it turns out her mom, who was famously murdered in the first movie, is alive. And yeah, it is. It's a nice little touch. I mean, it's just enough conflict for you to be like, all right, I can see why she would want to stay. She's not with the same boy, though. That boy is with, what's her face there, the villainous girl from the first one, Danielle, I think. I know I just watched these. So yeah, so then her boyfriend from the first movie is now dating Danielle, but she's like all nice and nice and nice and nice, or so we think. Spoiler alert, she's just pretending, because you need a villain, because why not? And then it turns out she doesn't know whether or not she wants to go back. She keeps getting... so instead of like the murder route, like where she keeps being killed, she's trying to memorize the formula to stabilize the multiverse. Sure, why not? So instead of waiting to be killed, because she does die, and she's assuming she's being hunted, as she would, because you know what happened in the first one. She keeps committing suicide in the best suicide montage I've ever seen.
Man, that
it is
suicide
just
montage.
comedy gold. You know, like she jumps out of a plane in her bikini and lands right in front of her other versus boyfriend and Danielle, and just explodes viscera on them. Like, it's just silly. You know, it's just good stuff. And every time she comes back, her body is in worse and worse shape too. Remember, that's like the whole thing.
So
is
the
like
whole
why she
thing-
can't do it for infinite reasons. Dying, coming back. Yeah, like even the doctor says.
Well, so the
"You should
whole
be
thing
good."
about like dying, coming back, you
Yeah.
know, she takes a lot of damage.
No, I agree.
I mean, just come on. Like,
Yeah, well,
I
that's
mean,
the thing too.
She was
is,
close
like,
to dying in the
so
first
she
one,
ends
right?
the first one with like all that damage.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And now we're in the second one. Yeah, I think she said something like they only had like 2 days before everything went cattywampus on them,
Alright.
so she would have had to have known them for weeks. We're talking like, even if she made it 2 days, that's like, let's assume weeks just meaning 2. That's like 7 more deaths piled on, and she may
That
have
math
actually
seems
said a
sound
number.
to me,
I don't
bud.
remember. I know in the first one it's like I died like 11 times. It's like that's a lot. So however many times she died in this one, you got to think to figure out those variables and memorize those codes. Like you're probably close to like, you're a lot higher than you think. So it turned, yeah, so she goes through that, but every time she's memorizing part of an algorithm that'll stabilize the multiverse, and she eventually gets the right one, and she's like, oh no, do I stay here where my mom's alive, or do I go back to my boyfriend? And she talks to her mom and has a nice little, you know, heart to heart, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It has my least favorite thing, and I know you don't like it much either. They have the one character overact, and it is just so painful to watch this overacting. It is just
A little too
nightmare.
over the top, a little bombastic.
Yeah, she's pretending to be
Especially with
blind
the Dean.
and French, and it's just too zany, man. It's like pratfalls and stuff, and it's just all to get the Dean's keys so they can get the device from it. Well, she makes the right decision, and she uncovers who the murderer was. This time it turns out it was the like scuzzy professor. I don't know, the ending it's not my favorite thing. And then, yeah. Oh, and then the post-credit scene with DARPA. Post-credits with DARPA. Oh, yeah, and they put the, yeah, because, what's her name? You know, the girl, she was mean in the first one, and then she was pretending to be nice in the second one. You mentioned it earlier, but I'm not good with names.
Danielle.
Yeah, they imply that they're going to trap her in several realities. It's just not very great. I don't know. And they have a weak excuse for getting rid of the secondary Ryan as well. Just not my favorite thing. Well, overall, I think it's safe to say we'd both recommend
No,
the
I
Happy
agree
Death
with you.
Days to you. And I would recommend both these. They're fun. And take it from us,
Birthday boys.
Oh, God, man. Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, man, thanks for having me.
Not at all. Thank you for coming.